Dear students, in our previous class we studied about the Earth, our living planet. Under this heading we studied the different names of Earth and etymological meaning of the term geography. Now, what is geography? Geography is a scientific study of Earth surface. Here Earth surface means it contains different types of landscapes and water bodies, rocks, nature and its salient features. Students, the word geography derived from the two Greek words, that is geo and graphia. On the basis of this we studied our Earth and also knew about the main factors of our Earth and also the size of the Earth. Now we are studied about our solar system. Now our solar system contains 8 planets except Pluto. Yes. To remember this, the name of the 9 planets, it has a symbol, that is the name of the 8 planets are: first one Mercury, second one Venus, third one Earth, fourth one Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. These are the 8 planets in our solar system. Now, Mercury is the smallest planet and Mars is the biggest planet. Yes, this is about our solar system or solar family. But our Earth is a living planet. The very name indicates the Earth has a suitable distance from the Sun. In a third place from the Sun. The Sun is the center of our solar system. Therefore, because of its suitable or favorable duration from the Sun, it is possible to us to live in this planet. Now students, now let us study about the shape of the Earth. In our previous class we already discussed about the shape of the Earth. The Earth's shape is described as geoid shape. Geoid shape means here at the equator it bulges, and in poles, at poles, North Pole and South Pole, it is flat. It is flat. Here it is bulges. Bulge means wide. Therefore, it is also stated that the shape of the Earth is geoid shape or earth shaped or oblate shaped. There are 3 shapes here. One is geoid shape, another one is earth shaped, another one is oblate spheroid. The next point is the Earth is flattened at the poles. Here it is North Pole, here it is South Pole. At the South Pole and North Pole it is flat. In the equator it is wide, it bulges. Therefore, we say it is a geoid shape. The equatorial diameter of the Earth is earth is equatorial diameter means AB. This is the center point, for example O. Equatorial diameter means AOB. How much? That is 12,756 kilometers. 56 kilometers. What is this? Equatorial diameter. Equatorial diameter 12,756 kilometers, and polar diameter PD means polar diameter, it is 12,714 kilometers. 14 kilometer. This is polar diameter. Polar diameter means this CD. This is polar diameter. How much kilometer? It is 12,714 kilometers. Equatorial diameter is 12,756. These are the length of equatorial diameter and polar diameter. Now the equatorial circumference. Equatorial circumference means one round. Equatorial circumference is 40,076 kilometers. Equatorial circumference. Ottu suttalate. That is in Kannada. That is equatorial circumference 40,076 kilometers. Now polar circumference PC, polar, pole to pole. Polar circumference is 40,008 kilometers. 40,008 kilometers. The difference of 42 kilometers. If you minus here 40,076 kilometers minus 40,008 kilometers, the difference is how much kilometers? 42 kilometers. 42 kilometers. 56 and 56 and this 14. 56 and this 14, that is 6. Here 2, 4. The equatorial diameter 12,756 and polar diameter 12,714 kilometers. What is the difference? Only 42 kilometers. These 42 kilometers, difference of this 42 kilometer in diameter is the proof for the geoid shape of the earth. There is a difference. Why it is a difference? Because here it is flattened, it is wide. At the poles it is bulges, it is flat. Therefore this is the difference. That is the difference of 42 kilometers. This is the proof for the geoid shape of the earth. We already told that geography means a scientific study of earth's surface. Scientific study of earth's surface and different landscapes, etc. Now in geography, see here This is world. Imagine. This is not map. This is our earth. We studied about our earth contains both land bodies and also water bodies. The land masses, different land masses and different types of water bodies that constitutes our earth. Now, these land bodies are called as what? Continents. 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 Therefore, the term continent, what is the meaning of the term continent? Do you know? It is very easy. The land bodies of the earth are known as continents. The land bodies of the earth are called continents. Continents means none other than these land bodies. These land bodies. These continents are large land masses. Continents are large land masses or land pieces. Yes. In the world, in this earth, how many continents are there? There are 7 continents are there. Now, another term is oceans. Continents and oceans. You know what is continents? Continents means land or land masses. What is oceans? Oceans means water bodies. Water bodies. How many continents? 7. How many water bodies or oceans? There are 4 major oceans are there in our earth. Now, which are the 7 continents? Which are the 7 continents? The 7 continents are Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe and Australia. Australia, Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica. These are the 7 major continents of the earth. Which is the biggest continent among the 7? Asia. Asia is the biggest continent of the world or in this earth. Which is the smallest? Smallest is Australia. Smallest is Australia. Yes, therefore, there are 7 continents. They are Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Antarctica, Europe and Australia. Next, oceans. The large water bodies of the earth is called oceans. Oceans means large water bodies. There are 4 major oceans. Which are they? Do you know? Yes. Yes, ocean means large water bodies. There are 4 major oceans in the world. They are Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean and Arctic Ocean. These are the 4 major water bodies or oceans of the world. Yes, now land and water hemisphere. Land and water hemisphere. Land and water hemisphere. The land and water bodies are unevenly distributed in our earth. In the earth, land or continents and oceans, water bodies are unevenly, means not even. Uneven means unequally, not equally, unevenly distributed between north and southern hemisphere. See here, imagine this is globe. For example, equator, this is 0 degree. This is called northern hemisphere. Northern hemisphere. This is called southern hemisphere. SH and NH. Northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. Upper side of the equator, northern hemisphere. Below the equator, southern hemisphere. Here the water bodies and land masses are unevenly distributed. The north hemisphere has 60% of land and 40% of water. 60% of land and 40% of water. Which hemisphere? Northern hemisphere. Therefore, it is called land hemisphere. Northern hemisphere is also called land hemisphere. Land hemisphere. Why? Because the majority of the lands are found in this hemisphere. 60% of the land. Water bodies only 40%. Therefore, the major role of northern hemisphere is from the land. Therefore, it is called land hemisphere. Now, this is called land hemisphere. Now, what is this water hemisphere? This is quite opposite in this southern hemisphere. Here, land portion, percentage of land is smaller than percentage of water bodies. Therefore, the southern hemisphere is called water hemisphere. There is 81% of the water, 81% of the water, where in southern hemisphere, and 19 of land in the southern hemisphere, 19% of land. The major role is occupied by water in this southern hemisphere. The water plays major role. Therefore, it is called water hemisphere. Water hemisphere. WH and LH, land hemisphere. LH and WH. Why it is land hemisphere? Which hemisphere is called land hemisphere? Northern hemisphere is called land hemisphere. Why? Because 60% of the land here, 60% of the land and 40% of the water bodies are there. Therefore, the majority masses, it is not water masses or water bodies, it is by land masses. Therefore, it is called land hemisphere. We can see majority of land masses in northern hemisphere. In the same way, majority of the water bodies in the southern hemisphere. Therefore, it is called water hemisphere. This is the meaning of the concept land hemisphere and water hemisphere. Here 60% of the land is there. Here 81% of the water is there. Therefore, this is land hemisphere and water hemisphere. Yes, students, now let us come to know about latitudes and longitudes. What is latitude and what is longitude? Suppose to know the place, to know the position, to know the distance, to know the direction, whether it is east or west or north or south. These latitudes and longitudes are very important. There are, to know this, a network of lines are drawn on the globe. These are known as line of latitudes. Line of latitudes. Latitudes and latitudes and longitudes. Akshamsha mattu rekamsha. Latitudes and longitudes. These are very essential. Why? To know a particular position, particular place, particular direction, to know all these things. There is a network of lines in our globe. That is called lines of latitudes. Lines of latitudes. In a globe, the horizontal lines are lines of latitudes. In a globe, horizontal lines. This is a horizontal line. It's not a straight line, a little bit cross. These lines are called latitudes. Latitudes. The vertical lines are the line of longitudes. Vertical lines in this way, including equator also. These are longitudes. Longitudes. These are latitudes. What is the importance of this? To know a particular place, direction, distance and position. These are very essential. These imaginary lines are very important. These are called lines of latitudes and these are called lines of longitude. The vertical lines are the lines of longitudes. Then, hence what is latitudes? It is an imaginary line. Latitudes are imaginary line which joins the places which have the same angular distance north or south of the equator. Therefore, latitudes are lines. Which lines? Imaginary lines. Imaginary lines. Who imagined this? That is by geographers. That is by geographers. Therefore, latitudes are imaginary. Latitudes are an imaginary line which joins all the places which have the same angular distance, whether from north or south of the equator. It is measured in degrees. The equator is the longest line of latitudes known as great circle in a globe. In a globe, we can draw the latitudes and this is equator, identified as 0 degree. This is the longest, what? Longest longitude, not latitude. In a globe, the horizontal lines are lines of latitudes. Now, we are telling about latitudes. It is an imaginary line. which joins all the places which have the same angular distance north or south of the equator. It is measured in degrees: 60 degree, 42 degree, 82.5 degree, etc. The equator is the longest line of latitudes known as great circle. Equator is also called great circle. It is called a great circle. See, these are latitudes. These are latitudes. Then longitudes. Longitudes. North Pole, this is South Pole. This is South Pole, the NP and SP. Equator, it is also called a great circle. Yes, dear students, now we can conclude today's chapter, that is the solar system and the name of 8 planets. Then the equatorial diameter, polar diameter, equatorial circumference and polar circumferences, and the difference of equatorial and polar diameter, that is 42. This is a proof to the geoid shape of the earth. Then we studied about land and water hemisphere. Northern hemisphere is also called land hemisphere. Southern hemisphere is called water hemisphere. Then latitudes and longitude. What is latitudes? Latitudes are imaginary lines drawn on the globe to identify the position, direction and distance of a particular place. That is called latitudes. Dear students, we shall continue our class in our next geography class. Sai Ram.